Ladies and gentlemen, this episode is brought to you by EmployeeEscapePlan.com. And if you want to get more customers to pay you more money more often, you want some marketing solutions that really work for you, whether you're a coach, author, a speaker, or a service provider, a product, someone who's delivering a product to the marketplace, Joe Nicasio is the man. He can definitely help you implement the systems, get the foundation in place, the principles to help you succeed. Again, that's www.employeeescapeplan.com, and let Joe know Chris sent you. Now, Dallas Michael Cyr is a life ignition ninja and conscious business mentor, as well as an inspirational speaker and spoken word artist. He's the founder of Ignite Purpose, the ultimate coaching for conscious, impact-driven entrepreneurs, creatives, future leaders, and those seeking an extraordinary and exceptional life. He's also the creator of Speak, Express, Impact, a powerful training for people who wish to speak more effectively and express more authentically to create greater impact in the world. Dallas has an incredible story of going from mess to success and adversity to abundance. At one point, bankrupt emotionally, financially, and spiritually, to now living in an extraordinary life of passion, purpose, and fun. He has built 3 businesses for the last 7 years and has been guiding his clients to permanently eliminate negative patterns, heal broken relationships, start or resurrect businesses, and live extraordinary lives. His motto is Ignite Your Purpose. Live your passion. Love your life. Dallas, you ready to rock this?
I acted out that whole thing. But I don't know if anyone saw that.
No, but
I am ready to rock that. Let's do it.
Sweet, man. Sweet. So
if that Zoom wasn't live, you might want to share that at some point.
It wasn't live, man.
This was the first time I've ever performed my own bio.
Dang it.
As you were reading, I was literally performing. This is an inspiration. Download came through.
I love it, man. Embodying it.
We're talking reel later.
We're talking about embodying multiple times today. You're just living that, man. You're living the message.
There you go. If you want to do it for are we live now?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Do you like the last? Do you like the last line? Like
All
the
right.
last two sentences.
You got it. So
he was reading so intensely. This is what I was doing while he was reading.
All right, you ready? You ready?
Yeah. Just like the last three sentences or so. Give me a little bit.
Okay. At one point, bankrupt emotionally, financially, and spiritually, to now living an extraordinary life of passion, purpose, and fun. He has built 3 businesses and for the last 7 years has been guiding his clients to permanently eliminate negative patterns, heal broken relationships, start or resurrect businesses, and live extraordinary lives. His motto is Ignite Your Purpose, Live Your Passion, and Love Your Life. Yeah.
So cheesy, but that just felt right. It just felt like it needed to happen. So thanks for redoing that.
You're welcome, man.
We've lost people. Like, this guy likes himself too much. I'm done. He's an egomaniac. I'm not. I swear to God. That just felt fun.
The world could use a little more self-love, I say.
That's all. Honestly, that's a great place. I don't know if that's where we can start, but I'll
Let's
just say
dive in, man. Hey,
I'll say one note about this. Like the bridge, or like it's not so much a thin line. It's actually a much thicker line between like ego and vanity and being vain to being just confident and really owning your power and who you are and what you're here to do. If you were to really embrace that, it would look so much bigger, so much brighter, and it wouldn't necessarily take bravado when you speaking it. You'd just be the living embodiment of it. You'd show up and people would be like, they just see it and feel it. You wouldn't have to speak it. Yet for some, those who are the artists, the performers, those who have messages they want to share as an orator, like myself, or as a performer, or as a coach, I'm very expressive. Sometimes that's part of it too, just saying it, owning it, and performing it.
Dude, I love it. I love it, man. So owning your truth is the theme today is called winning the game of life. So I think that's a step in the right direction of you winning the game of life. So that's really where we're going to dive into next is this concept of winning the game of life. Is it important?
Yeah.
Is it important to win? Does that mean anything to you? Have you had good or not so great experiences with that? Share about your experience with that concept.
I have a personal theory that that's coming through in this moment, which when I hear that, I do think, but my brain says that's a little old paradigm because it's to me it means that we're achievement focused, and what I've been experiencing with my life and with my clients' lives over the past 8 years is that there's a shift, that there's a certain level of sustainability and a deeper level of connection and fulfillment when we go beyond the achievement model, where it, because to me winning means that there's a potential for losing, and so I don't think you can lose the game of life. And I mean this in all sincerity, because even if someone is unconsciously and or consciously choosing to be an addict, or choosing to just to work at McDonald's, or choosing to be the president, I believe in all of that and every range in between. You are playing the perfect role for your evolution, which is an eventuality, eventuality. It's just going to happen, whether it's this lifetime or multiple. It's period the end scenario, and you're playing your role perfectly. And if someone else's role is to come along and say, hey, there's a better way, and they're meant to be part of your journey, and then you decide like, oh wow, thank you, I agree, and to take your life in as a choose your own adventure book, to kind of choose a different ending to this place that you're at, regardless of where you're at. Great. Could you say you were now winning and then before you weren't? No, because it's all part of the same end, regardless. How it happens, when it happens, irrelevant. The place that we get stuck is when we think it's supposed to happen a certain way in a certain time, and then it feels like I'm losing because we're just comparing it to this made-up version of it's supposed to be something else. Yet that and what you're experiencing, it's all made up anyway. That's it. It's all made up. There was no book of life that someone was meant to give your parents, and oops, they forgot, and so you left the hospital without your fucking map. Oh, sorry, I didn't ask permission. Do we swear on this show occasionally?
Keep it to a minimum.
Okay, right. It came through very authentically. But so there's no necessarily a map or a blueprint. Ironically, there are certain philosophies that I study that do give a kind of a map or context to our individual lives. Yet overall, there's no like, you're supposed to do this and it's going to look like this. So when I hear just to put a bow on it, when I hear the winning of the game of life, yes, there's an excitement that can kind of come with that, because I'm still a very practical, grounded individual, results driven, and I love taking the metaphysical and bringing it into the physical. And so, yes, I do have certain intentions in mind, and I do want to feel a certain frequency or emotion that some might equate to winning. Yet I do believe that paradigm shift of going from achievement focused to spirit focused, to inner purpose focused. Like I'm just here to live the fullest essence of my being, and that could look like anything. Let me just create and play and explore and have fun with it. Who cares? That to me is much more sustainable and leaves me feeling like open and expansive, versus like there's a winning potential. So I've got to hurry up to this end conclusion of the game and have a certain experience in order for me to feel as though I've won. So there's actually a expand contract in that when I just want to expand.
Yeah.
I just want to stay expansive and stay open, because then instead of me limiting possibility, it stays wide friggin' open.
And that continual expansion comes from not comparing, it sounds like, not trying to get somewhere, not judging for not being there, and just like really embracing this present moment, exactly how it is, exactly how it isn't.
Yes.
Dude.
Bingo. Yeah. And a lot of folks will hear that and then we'll be like, well, then where's my inspiration to change? Because it's like we're so used to and conditioned to change out of my failure down here and this pain down here.
To get somewhere.
To get somewhere. So we do the pain pleasure model to get, pain pleasure model to get. So then we've got to repeat the pain pleasure model. Yet if you didn't have that belief, you have a very different experience, I promise you. Because that was my previous experience, and now this is the way I live and exist now. It's very different.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude. So let's dive in a little bit more about what you're doing today. You can share with our audience, and then sounds like you've gone through some serious contrast to get to where you are today.
Yeah, if you want wherever you want to take it, please. Yeah.
Cool, man. So just tell us more about what you do, speaking, coaching, etc.
Yes. So more, I'll give you like an example. Last year I did a Facebook Live show like this. It wasn't 12 hours straight. You're setting a new precedent here. I love it. Yet it was like I did every single day, 5 days a week, and I ended up doing about 81 episodes. I slowed down to 2 days a week at a certain point, and then I stopped. It was just like wasn't coming through in the same way, and I had my attention on some programs that I had already launched and was. I was running them. I was in the process of, running the program that I had been launching. Right. And so the point that I'm getting at is that slowed down. So I was doing Facebook Lives as a transmission because I feel like that's a big part of what I do. I'm able to get out of the way of the message and be just a real, genuine, clean vessel for what comes through. Yeah. So the other thing that I do, besides as a conscious orator, communicating through creativity and play and through story, is I also use performance. So I'm a spoken word artist. I do spoken word poetry. For those of you who don't know, it's like written poetry, except it has a cadence and a tempo to it, and it usually has an intention to kind of like really deliver a point. It can be flowery. Oftentimes there's things called poetry slams where it can be very like in your face and go to a really dark place. It has the potential of all things. Has a very artistic nature, performance based, and it is poetic. So I do that, yet I connect that to my keynote talks. So a lot of times I'll do a spoken word piece and then I'll transition into a keynote and use both to both kind of get into the heart of the audience, to entertain them, because I do believe that transformation can be fun and playful, and it can be light, it can be entertaining, as well as just, powerfully transformative. And so those are the ways that I'm kind of like communicating and putting myself out there, platform style. And when someone works with me, I've been a master life guide and a conscious business entrepreneur for 8 years. Okay. As I mentioned, though, that was, my third business. So it's like, it's assisting people in getting really, really clear as to what they're saying they want, right? And then cleaning up their context for life and assisting them in reframing the way that they're seeing things, cleaning up their language and assisting them in just fine tuning all of these things that are these areas of their life that are keeping them from what they want. I used an example yesterday on a Facebook Live that I did where I had a client who finally rearranged his office. He has a physical office, is a print shop, where he finally rearranges his office, where now there wasn't a piece of equipment blocking the door to his business, which wasn't allowing the door to open up fully. Wow. So you think about this conceptually, I want more, yet the very entrance to his business doesn't open completely. And if you don't think that there is a mental, spiritual, and emotional connection to that beyond just analogy, beyond just feng shui,
Right.
you got something to learn, as many of us do. So it was just those little fine tunes can make massive transformations in people's, connection to their wealth, to the success of their business. So assisting people and really getting clear about, where they're going, who they are, what they want, what their spirit is here to create, or even just freeing them to be able to create and play. And so they can have a whole different experience. So I do that through one-on-one coaching, a very, very high level one-on-one coaching. And then I also have 2 signature programs that I do each year. One that is launched and open and ready to go right now. The landing page is almost complete, but the previous landing page is still open and available. And that is Igniting Your Purpose. Igniting Your Purpose for those who are, they're reinventing a business that just has lost its luster and passion. They're in a corporate business and they're stuck. They're coming out of a relationship and they're wanting to reinvent themselves, redefine themselves. They're in a place where what was working isn't working anymore. They're the phoenix right behind you, right? They're coming out of those ashes in a big transition and turning point. And so Igniting Your Purpose is perfect for that individual coming out of a divorce, reinventing themselves, taking back their personal power. And then Speak, Express, Impact will be a little bit later in the year for those who are aspiring speakers, either new speakers or aspiring speakers, like your coaches and authors and thought leaders who are wanting to be more powerful on video and stage and be more expressive and be more authentic and more connected to their message and make a bigger impact with the audience, be more memorable, increase the impact and the experience they have with the audience, not just deliver content.
Right.
So that's what I'm up to now. It's kind of a long story.
That's beautiful. Beautiful. Lots of great drawing out the potential of people. And I did mention that I wanted to go back. What were some of those turning points that really shaped your mindset and your perspective on the world today? Why do you do this stuff?
Yeah. I don't know. I do believe that through our various evolutions and lifetimes that we come in ready for certain things. And if we listen and follow, then we can find ourselves available to new things along the way that maybe we wouldn't have been available to otherwise. When I was younger, I had friends who introduced me to things like astrology. And I grew up in, I affectionately say, the hood. Mm-hmm. Some might call it ghetto. Mm-hmm. I call it hood. Very poor. Everybody in my neighborhood was black and Puerto Rican, pretty much Hispanic and black. Everybody, right. Except like me and 5 other people. Without no exaggeration, within like a 5 to 10 mile radius at the very least.
Oh my god!
And I grew up in a pretty wealthy state. I grew up in Connecticut, but what most people don't know is that there's certain areas like Waterbury and New Haven and New Britain and Hartford, which is where I'm from, that especially in the 90s were not Greenwich and Stanford and the places people think when they hear Connecticut. Right. Very, very much not. Our crime rate was like competing or even exceeding with in the 90s with like Brooklyn and Bronx, and especially during like times of like gangster rap and when like gang violence was high and the crack epidemic was happening. We were just very. So that was my hood. That was my neighborhood. I bring that up because at that time I was very fortunate to have individuals in my life who, one, they were into something that was positive for the most part. We were into hip hop. We were into music. We were into breakdancing, and I was a battle MC. And we were into, we were into like something that had the semblance of like culture and unity and play and authenticity and uniqueness, right? Like hip hop has that. It really it's a lifesaver for some. And so I fortunately I had that, and I got connected to certain people and organizations that had very positive mindsets of like uplifting the youth type of thing. I also had some friends who were into like astrology, and I think I saw my first psychic when I was like 18 years old.
That's awesome.
This Russian lady. And so I was kind of always guided that way to a degree, yet I was still drinking 40s and smoking blunts and poor as hell and just, breakdancing and partying and growing up, But there's this kind of feeling like something, like I was really kind of destined or really being called to something. Let's put that, called to something. So long story short, I didn't know what to do out of high school, and I had really no direction, had no desire to go to college. My school experience was really crappy. I hated it. Boring, didn't feel connected, smart enough to just like do enough to get by, just because it's like, this is too easy. I'm just going to like, do just enough to get by. Yeah. So I was an A student who was on purpose a C student just because I was just like bored. It's like, oh, this will get me through. All right, cool. Here, there you go. It's sad. So eventually when I got out of high school, I didn't really have any direction or anywhere to go. And I wasn't really encouraged, as long as I was staying out of trouble, but my parents, they were just very blue collar, and hard workers. And so it's like, just go get a job and be okay. Don't murder people. That's the only expectation. Don't kill anybody, and please don't get hooked on anything that kills you. It's like, okay, cool. I'm pretty sure I can cover that.
Those are some good boundaries. I got it.
Yes, exactly. High expectations. So, so I ended up just going into like a retail job, and I ended up getting fired because they didn't catch me stealing, but they kind of knew. They caught me doing weird things on camera, and I was like, maybe. And they're like, we're going to ask you to leave. I was like, that's good. And so I left, was asked to go, and ended up being at home where I'm like smoking cigarettes all day. I'm in this apartment, this bedroom, still living at home, small little room. I'm watching like 13 hours of TV, and I'm like, something's got to change. I can't remember how many months went by of like the only time I'd go outside was to go on the porch and have a cigarette. And it wasn't working, and just bored. Yeah. And simply just so I'm 40, by the way, right? And at the time that I'm telling you, I was 19, just about to turn 20. So this is 20 years ago. This is, what was it, like almost 10 years prior to The Secret, maybe?
Okay.
Somewhere around there, like before vision boards and, were a thing. I'm sure they were a thing, possibly. I don't know. But they weren't a thing as we know it today. There was no visionboard.com or Mind Movies. There wasn't Jack Canfield's vision board in a box that you can get at Barnes and Nobles. That shit didn't exist. The Secret didn't exist. None of that, especially on the East Coast. I'm in Canada. I'm on the East Coast. I'm between New York and Boston. So, point that I'm getting at is that I created a collage. That's it. I just went to the store. I got construction paper or a big, poster board, and I went through my mom's magazines, and I thought I was just creating a collage to like give me something to kind of like look at and focus on instead of like the models that I had on my room wall as a boy, Yeah. And I tore all those down. I was like, oh man, this is just not serving me. I just felt superficial, which is crazy for a 19-year-old in the hood who's smoking cigarettes all day watching TV. But that thought came through. So I tore down all the posters of these girls. I went and made a collage of like places I wanted to travel, people, these kids that I think breakdancing in Brazil. I put pictures of me on the microphone because I wanted to be an MC, and I just put that together. And 2 weeks later, I got an amazing job.
Dude,
it just happened. There's a little more to it, but that's pretty much exactly what happened. Like I was offered a job, one that I failed the aptitude test for. But my manners were I was so well mannered. One was like, you were the most polite, nicest person I had interviewed almost ever. So I wanted to have you come back and take the aptitude test again, because I figured if you just tried again, you'd pass enough for me to recommend you for the position, which is exactly what happened. Yeah. I got a basic data entry corporate job, yet my manager was an amazing mentor. And I just kept getting pushed like this my whole life into like, and I would just follow the signs, even at that age, I would follow the signs. I reached the cap of where I could go in my corporate position. And I think it was like, I was like a plan manager at this insurance company. Plus I was waiting tables. I was doing both just to crack, I think, 45 grand during the year. But I was saving money. I was debt free. I was saving money, but I was working my ass off. I was young and hungry. And I was so bored of my job all day. So I tried to apply out. And there was nowhere to go. So I ended up putting my resume on Monster, and this company, New York Life, picked me up, and I became a financial planner for 7 years. Built my own business. It was the first experience of business. Built a book of business that I eventually sold. Had over 250 clients, and met with thousands of people over the course of 7 years. And
what drove you during that time?
I had people who, again, were mentors in that office. It was like the Brian Tracy, Jim Rohn, type of mindset and work ethic. So it was the first introduction to personal growth that I ever had. Wow. Was this office. And my manager there, Jim Lazan, was just an amazing dude. Just a really great family man, funny as hell, great storyteller, great guy. My first real mentor. And so he drove me because he was like, these are the goals and you can do this. And he believed in me. And it was very much a father figure at the time. And I didn't see it that way. But now looking back, I was like, oh yeah, I wanted to achieve for him because I just like me succeeding for my dad type of thing, So I understand that now looking back. But that was it. It was like the office had a lot of great energy. And there was besides him, a couple of people in the office that I looked up to who were like, wow, they were crushing it in my eyes. Yeah. They were doing $250 a year. Now everyone I hang with, it's like multi-millionaires. So it's like, but I hang with some billionaires. But at the time, it was like, holy shit! Like you make how much in 1 year? I couldn't like it was like where am I? It's like crazy. Right. So I wanted that. That's it. I was the achievement focus. And that's what I was sharing at the beginning of the show. Is that ironically, that's what eventually led me to burnout. Because it was like get. It was like go, next goal. Yet that's not what I was really being called to do. It really wasn't, for me after a certain time because I just kept pushing. Eventually, just started killing me. Literally and figuratively.
Yeah. What did that burnout look like, and what was like the moment you figured it out, and what new decision and what new actions followed it?
The moment I've shared this story a lot in interviews where I'm on the balcony of a beautiful resort in Florida, and I had just had the best year of my career as a financial planner, and hit like what they call they had certain councils, president council, executive council, and some other council. And so that was the goal. Like you work as an independent agent, all of your expenses are out of your own pocket. I had my own office, I had my own assistant. Yet there was incentives to sell their products, right? So once you sold enough of that, then they send you on trips. So I'm on this trip, and it was beautiful. They even allowed my girlfriend to come, which at the time was supposed to be spouses only, but they finagled that for me, and it was nice. It was a really nice trip. And at the time, though, I'm on this trip, and I'm like, this is amazing. I'm celebrating. She's in the bathroom getting ready. I'm on the patio, get ready for dinner to go meet with the other agents and planners on my team, in my group. And I'm just, kind of standing there, and my arms are on the banister, and I'm looking out this gorgeous resort. I'm just like, feeling like, like I did it, right? I'm on top of the world, right? And the very next thought that like crept in without me knowing or expecting it was, now what? And it was just I was hit with the most empty feeling I had ever experienced in my life. And finally, that feeling created a vacuum. And all of these realizations started pouring in that I hadn't ever given any time to listen to, because it was like goal, distraction, other people, goal, distraction. Build the business, go play golf, watch football, hang out with girlfriend, go to church, build the business. That's all life was. Right? And I'm sure many can relate. And it's still, millions and millions and billions of people's experience. So there it was. It was in my face. All of a sudden, in this one moment of space, this vacuum that was created, this opening, where all of a sudden some light came through, and it was like, wow, I'm really unhappy. I don't like doing what I'm doing. I think it's killing me. It's exhausting. there's aspects I like, but overall, I don't feel like this is forever anymore. I thought it was like the thing. And the girl in the bathroom, who was sweet and wonderful, was definitely not the one. by far. And something in me knew when we freaking met, and somehow it was like 2 years later, and I'm just like, that's just not working. And then my friends, who were amazing, like friends of 18 years, were just really wonderful people. That they were just going in a different direction. No good, bad, no judgment whatsoever. They just wanted different things. They're going in a different direction, wanted to experience different things, and getting, kids and girlfriends and houses and settling down. And it was still about like, fall softball and football in the winter and hang out with the friends and poker night. And I didn't want any of that. I wanted to travel the world. I wanted to, build a business and be of significance and stuff. There was different things driving me then too. Right. But I was just going in a different direction. All that became a buffet real. So I spiraled out of control. I stopped working. Just stopped working. I was just like, this isn't working, and I don't know what else to do. So unless business literally came in the door, unless either a client or a referral was like, hey, here's my money.
Right.
I pretty much did nothing. I had enough renewals and referrals to create some base, yet eventually I had to start dipping into savings and then credit cards, and then because like a year went by, and almost 2 years, where I'm hiring a life coach for the first time ever. Don't even know what the hell a life coach is at this point. But again, just following my instincts. That's it. Following my instincts. And this little orange business card that was like from a home printer, perforated edges, but it had a cool quote on it. And it was this lady who I remember kind of meeting. And there was her name, life coach, whatever the frick that means. And then a Henry David Thoreau quote on the back, which is the only reason why I kept the quote, the card. And I'm like, I have to call this lady. And I did, and I hired her. But it didn't turn things around. What it did do is it opened up a whole new world of real deep spiritual exploration. Mindfulness was the first time she introduced me to the idea of mindfulness. I started going to workshops and retreats and just full on immersion. And that was my life for 14 years. I just turned it off. So that was my life for 14 years. I spiraled into a depression, into bankruptcy, into moving back home into a basement.
Wow.
And lived there for a year with many suicidal thoughts. Wow. And a friend eventually came to visit me, and she was like, you probably like this. I did yoga teacher training on this mountain in Northern California. It's a karma yoga community centered around an enlightened guru named Baba Hari Das. He's a silent monk. He's like 87 years old. This community's been around for 30 years. They're a retreat center. They're on 355 acres of redwood forest in Northern California. And you go there and you live there. You exchange your service for learning pranayama breathing and yoga and eating vegan food and taking care of the retreat center. That's how they get their work exchange for service. And so I lived on a mountain at a yoga karma community for 3 months. Wow. And I came back home and I was just like, I am not the same. The world is not what I thought. And that was already beginning to happen through all of the transformational work that I was doing, yet I was still not putting the pieces together enough to have true growth and prosperity out of it. Eventually what happened was I'm in this basement in pain, scrambling 13 hours a day trying to get my life on track and figure out what my next step was going to be. And it hit me that I had been learning, like, why am I learning all these things? Why am I learning all these things? And yet I'm still here, broke, sad, alone, struggling. And it was this beautiful incubation period. It was this, I was the butterfly in the chrysalis. And it just dawned on me that I hadn't been literally applying everything. I wasn't really living the principles. I was devouring information. I wasn't truly embodying. and living what I was devouring, and therefore there was no result. I was a bank. I was a library. And yet, if you think about it, libraries are both some of the poorest and both wealthiest places on the planet, right? It's the wealthiest because it's just infinite and open and available in terms of the resources and what you can get there. Mm-hmm. And yet, often a really poor place.
Yeah, man.
And that's what was going on in here.
Dang. Dude, that's incredible. So you had this kind of realization, you hired a life coach, but even after that, you were just still discovering what, like, almost like feeding the identity of, get more knowledge, achieve more, consume more, like get more, and then I'll get there, and then I'll wake up on the balcony, and next time I'll be like, this is it.
Same principle.
Yeah.
Consumerism.
Yeah.
Achieve model. Same principle. Just doing it with healthier stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the irony.
Still an addiction, like the seminars and stuff. They call them seminar junkies, right? People are just constantly going from one seminar to the next, and like bless their hearts for the effort. And is it actually making the difference? And that's where people like you come along and you show people, hey, like, here's why you haven't been getting the results that you wanted. There's some core fundamental paradigm shifts that must take place to be able to step into a new reality.
Yeah. There's leverage that's available. There's magnification that's available. There's being able to see things that you yourself can't see. It's someone to point out the forest through the trees for you, and that there's throughout all of history. Throughout all of history, we've had our gurus, teachers, coaches, enlightened masters, our sages, our shamans, in every single religion, in every single culture, at every point in history, these type of people, these teachers, myself, you, have existed. And there's no limit to that value. That and artists, I believe, are so crucial right now in what I think to be a new emergence, like we're entering a new renaissance, another renaissance time. We're creeping into a golden age where we get to experience much higher levels of grace and ease and joy and play. And we don't have to have the force and the fight and the hustle and the grind and the war and all of those things. Yet I believe two of the things that are assisting and ushering that through are, more and more people standing up to be leaders in their own lives, even if they're not, leaders to others or they don't consider themselves that, but just being leaders in their own lives. And then just a new emergence of creativity and creation happening. And so,
Yeah, it's funny. I stopped saying keep up the great work, because I'm a cheerleader, motivator kind of guy, and I would always say, like, keep up the great work, and I changed that to keep up the epic creation. The epic creation, the beautiful creation. What are you creating? And that's just so much more accurate than keep up the great work.
Totally.
So it's awesome, man. Awesome. So we're moving into this new age where people have this grace. They have the self-expression.
More available than ever.
Yeah, more available than ever. Self-expression, the creation, the flow, the divine connection, right? Why are we going through all this? I want to hear your take on why this age, and like what's the best part about it? Like, what's it bringing to us all?
Well, the biggest thing that we're experiencing is this remembrance of what our true divine nature is. Most of us identify so intensely with the meat suit that we're in, and therefore you will only ever continue to perpetuate separation. And that absolutely is the seed for pain, war, fight, addiction, is the idea that I am
separate from my creator, separate from you, separate from things and everything. And therefore, there is a fight, there is a struggle, there is a need to prove, there is a need to achieve. Yet when we remember that I'm really not, to stop identifying so closely. Like, I love having the human experience. I'm a Taurus by nature. I'm very grounded. I love experiencing all of my senses, great food, amazing smells, touching things that feel amazing. I love playing. I'm very, barefoot right now. I love that. I love being in nature. So I love my senses of being alive. I enjoy my meat suit, yet I don't identify it with the way that I used to. And so that, I believe, is what's coming online, is this remembrance that there's something so much greater and more divine than I ever imagined. And it's, oh, wait, it's in me. I'm it. I'm possibility.
Yeah.
Right? I'm that. I'm that thing. I am it. And then that means that you're it. Like it people hear that and they think, oh, so arrogant. No, no, that's the difference is what they're hearing is like, I'm God, I'm this, and therefore you're not.
Right.
That's only because they're not owning that for their friggin' selves.
Right.
If they chose to also stand in that and get that what I'm saying is, well, if I am that, of course you are too.
Yeah.
Made in the image. We don't even consider what that means, right? What it really means. And so if I am, then you are too. Cool. Then I don't have to judge you. I don't have to compare against you. I don't have to focus on. I don't have to try and live your life. Think about the freedom. Think about the empowerment in that. Think about like, oh my God, I can just celebrate whatever the heck you do. No judgment. You're good.
Yeah.
And what then becomes available because I am that, is this whole new way of relating to my life and to others. That new way of relating raises my emotional state, aka my frequency, my vibration, and that then creates a very different experience in this life. That is what allows me to open up to grace. The reason why we're going through this is just because it is a natural part of our evolution.
Yeah.
That's it. It is the natural expanding of the universe.
You know what I also have been relating it to is, let's say a parent raises a kid, right? At the very beginning, the kid has no idea what they're doing, their powers, their abilities. They just kind of naturally do it. They're programmed to do it. And as they grow, they become more and more responsible of these powers. I believe it's the same thing with God in this universe, right? God created this universe, and this universe has no idea what the heck it's doing. It's like, it is infinite intelligence because it's God, and it's still discovering itself that it's God. And as time goes on, like, God's the parent, like, feeding and nurturing throughout all the wars and stuff that's happening in society. It's like, hey, like, you're still God, you're still a part of this, so I'm going to keep parenting you and loving you and like giving you grace to blossom, because that's why you're here.
Yeah, so we're here to wake up and to remember, and we all have our own unique and different role in that.
Yeah.
Like one thing that I heard last year that really resonated with me is that God chose to go through this experience to remember its self, not him or herself, itself, purposely to experience novelty. It was in the divine perfection of all things. And it knew enough that even in that perfection, then it could also experience boredom, because it's all things.
Right.
So wouldn't it be amazing to just remember myself again throughout the whole process? And so it fractured itself to then be billions and millions and trillions of years and lifetimes and people. And we're all just waking up to remember. And that process, time is not linear. So we don't really have an understanding of how long that really ultimately, time is dimensional. And so, one friend explained to me is that we've got layers of density that we move through. There's a philosophy and a process out there called spiral dynamics, which those watching, you can look it up. And so we're literally spiraling up in one sense through the layers of density, right? Through through, like, think of Stone Age, right? Like really hard, and things are difficult, challenging. We only know so much. And as we continue to spiral up, we move beyond like the idea of like possession, this is mine, to like, it's a fucking computer.
Flow.
Right. Yeah. And not ownership and possession and singular. It's a computer. I'm not using you right now. Would you like to use it? It's like, it's just a thing, right? This become unattached. We recognize that we identify less with our ego and our identity and with the meat suit. And so we're spiraling up in consciousness through these layers of density, yet then each time that we get to a new layer of density, there is now a layer of dimension, which is once again opened up to infinite possibility across all times. And one movie that I think illustrates this really great is Interstellar. For those who have or have not seen it, you literally see Matthew McConaughey going through like a grid.
Yes.
At one point, trying to get back to his daughter in a specific time. Right? And so he's literally going up and then he's going across. Yeah. That's time. Wow. It's not just like, I start here and then it ends here. Eventually it's all gonna end.
So what
start when it went boom.
What have you found? What have you found is the fastest way to transcend the density in the layers and get to whole new dimensions?
Yeah, love. Open up your heart. Oh my God. And just the more that it because that is the essence of creation and God is love. And I can't judge you and love you at the same time.
Yeah.
I can't fear you and love you at the same time. I can't limit my own beauty and potential and fully love myself at the same time. And so the more I allow myself to just feel deeper and greater levels of love, and, for my fellow man, when I look at my dog, just like, oh my God, just pours out. I look at a baby, I look at you, and I'm just like, just there, there I am.
Yep.
That's it. And I love you because I love me.
Yeah.
And the more that I just surrender to that, then the things that keep me blocking money coming in, they wash away. The things that keep me from blocking love and relationships, they go away. The thing that keep me from blocking friendships or my ability to travel or to be free or to create freely for what authentically wants to come out versus what I think I should create or what someone else is telling me to do, all of a sudden that washes away. And it's just like, here we are. And so that allows us to, I think, transcend very rarely.
Yeah.
Plant medicines help.
Yeah, totally.
I love plant medicines. I love having spiritual guides. I love sound healing. There's so many tools, techniques, and avenues, many paths to the same point in the mountain. And the first thing that came up when you asked the question was love, because that is the one great unifier that whether you're 3 years old or a Muslim or an adult or in this country or that country or believe in plant medicine, you don't believe in, you don't feel safe doing that, or you don't want to hire a coach, you don't think you can afford to hire a coach, or wherever you are on the spectrum, everyone can love a little more. So I just wanted to give the one that came through as the most accessible for all. Yeah. And yet I've all the things that have led me to this epiphany and to the ability to experience those greatest level of love without having to protect myself or worry about, like, well, what if so-and-so does this? The more open your heart is, I just actually wrote this exact post on Facebook. The more open your heart is, the more present you are to truth. It is the sharpest lie detector on the planet.
Wow.
And yet we think we have to protect ourselves because someone's still trying to cheat me or lie to me. Or if I'm just in love and I'm clear, I'm like, no.
Wow.
It's instant. There's no doubt or question, because this is what doubts and questions. This doesn't have to doubt and question. This doubts and questions.
Damn.
So it's just like, whew, everything clear. Can I read something to you real quick?
Yes, please.
I feel like I know we're getting towards the end, and I want to share this because it's really relevant to this particular point here. Yeah. Hey, we're live. Look at us. There we are. Just looking at a post.
Awesome.
Where is it? There we go. Boom. There we go. Okay, so I'll just read it to you real quickly.
Cool.
The algorithm on Facebook is really funky right now.
I love it. I love it.
It's making me work hard. It's good for live video. It loves live video. Yeah. I don't know if anybody's watching, but it's good for live video. So, okay, so here we are. So the strongest force on the planet is the wide open heart. The wide open heart is a satellite, a reception tower for all the money, love, joy, and fulfillment that you are wanting to receive, yet are now blocking. The wide open heart is a beacon to other open hearts, and it's a pumice stone on the hearts that are cold, closed, or calloused, assisting others to open and to soften. The wide open heart is full and generous, giving from an endless well versus a limited cup. It gives powerfully without attachment or expectation. The wide open heart is a pure vessel for spirit, pouring in and then flowing back out with creativity for creation. The wide open heart is the ultimate lie detector machine and a laser beam through a stick of room temperature butter, effortlessly cutting through lies, fear, inauthenticity, or confusion. It's clear when the mind is not. The wide open heart does what nothing else can beyond any logical plan. The wide open heart is the gateway to your personal power, the number one tool and best friend in the full receiving and realizing of your dreams.
Damn.
So yeah, if you want to, I think you can save. I think you can save a link, right?
Yeah.
Save a link somewhere. Where it is now. Remove tag. How do you do that though? Anyway, well, I know there's a way somewhere. But anyway, if I find the link, I'll send it to you. You can share it with the show or whatever.
Cool, man. Oh my gosh, yeah. Send me that post or just tag me in it, and then I'll go back later and pick it up. But dude, I love that, the wide open heart, and this interview has been great, man. And I appreciate you just being real with us, sharing your life, and also getting into the deep stuff too. That's the beauty, man. The beauty is in the discovery, the play, the finding out, the being curious. And I appreciate that that's how you show up in every area of your life, and you bring this self, right, for us, the world, for consciousness, for God, everywhere. So Dallas, we want to know, what is the final takeaway, the final call to action, and then how do people stay connected with you?
Final takeaway seems to be open your heart. Final takeaway is you're capable of so much more than you realize. And if there's something that you want to, my beloved, who's an amazing coach herself, always says, if there's something you truly want, even whether it's a coach or to join some kind of coaching program that's going to assist you, or whether it's traveling or buying a car, whatever, if there's something that you truly want and you are not in some way moving towards that thing, you are lying to yourself and you are blocking it, period. End of story. And so whatever it is that you're desiring, today commit to move towards it in some way. Clarify the vision, put $1 aside, anything and everything to literally move towards it. Because otherwise you're in story. You're just trapped in story, and you're not doing yourself or anyone else a service. The thing that I would offer to you is two things. One, I always share, a free gift, which is www.adversity, then the word to abundance.com, adversity2abundance.com, and it's a free video series. I believe the videos are potent and transformative and also entertaining. So if you enjoyed this, you'll probably enjoy those videos, and you can go check out that page. And of course, then you'll have an opportunity to follow up with me more and ask me questions and email me. You'll be connected to me. And then I'm actually going to be launching a program this week, which you can check it out now, Igniting Your Purpose, ignitingyourpurpose.com. It's going to be, I'm actually doing this program at the most affordable level I've ever offered it before. Something told me to bring the price down for once, which is the very opposite of what I've been doing with the investment to work with me. And so I just felt inspired to deliver it in a certain way. So after doing this program for almost 4 years, transforming hundreds of lives, I'm actually going to be rearranging, up-leveling, and adding to the content in the newest, freshest way since I've created the program, and bringing the investment price down. So if you want to join me on a journey for 7 weeks, ignitingyourpurpose.com.
Awesome. Dude, Dallas, you're the man. Got a bunch of fans in the audience. Great comments. So make sure you head back and read them because you got some love. And you're doing awesome, man. Keep up the great creation. And I'm excited to see what 2018 has in store for both of us, brother.
Me too. Totally.
All right. Dude,
all right, keep going.
See you soon, okay?
Peace.